Yep. Let's see, Twitch. What's up, gang? How are y'all? Let me just make sure audio levels is good. All right. Seem like we're good. All right, y'all. So we doing another YouTube video today and another YouTube story time. So y'all ready? This may be longer than usual, but bear with me. So this is not your average, story time. Not my regular story times. I literally got my notes down here just in case if I get caught up because I be yapping. Y'all know I be carrying on. This is one of those stories where everything. Everything looks like they're winning at first and they're with the winning team, but they're basically losing and everything turns into a nightmare very, very, very fast. You feel me? Alright, so let's just start from the beginning, right? So this story is about Siegfried. Siegfried comes from a very powerful lineage and bloodline. He's actually a prince, but he was never crowned king. His pops got unalive long, before that. So he comes from a very powerful family line. And his destiny was to be a warrior, and all he wanted to do in life was be a great warrior, a legend, a hero. Basically, that's all he wanted to be, was superhero. So he was raised by a little short dwarf named Rain or Regen. I've been calling him Regan. I've been calling him all different type of names. So let's just call him Regan for this because I don't know the correct pronunciation, but yeah, y'all get it. All right, so now pay attention to the story. All right, because this when everything starts to twist and turn and get very, very weird in this story time. All right, y'all good? All right, all right. Rain wasn't just raising, Siegfried out of the kindness of his heart because, he was close with the family or, he was even a good guy. He was plotting. Yeah, gang. He was plotting the whole time, basically, which was crazy. He had a plan and, he set out to make it work. It was long and calculated, but he raised that boy because he knew he had special abilities and he knew that boy could, go do out the dirty work that he couldn't do himself because he was a short little evil dwarf. So one day, Rain tells, Siegfried, when he's an adult, when he's older, his plan. He's like, there's treasure beyond treasure. There's a magic ring in there. There's artifacts, everything you could need, but it's guarded. So he basically trying to finesse Siegfried to go in that dragon cave. So he was like, oh, it's guarded by something ancient and different. I don't know. He's like, they say it's a dragon called Fafnir. So listen. So what Siegfried don't know about Fafnir used to be a person. Well, not really a person, more of the dwarf people. He was definitely on those lines. But he was Regan, he was Regan's brother, which makes it super, super messy because why are you trying to set up your brother for some gold or some, I don't know what's going on, and then you raising a little boy to come unalive him. It's just crazy. Boom, y'all. So yeah, so let that sit in. That the dragon is his brother, and it gets weird. So Fafnir, let me tell you about Fafnir when he was kind of more in human form. Thank you so much, Raven, for the likes. Thank you guys, appreciate y'all for all the likes, all the love. Fafnir was obsessed with gold his whole entire life. He was obsessed with gold. It was so bad that it turned him kind of evil. He unalived him and Regan's father. Maybe that's why Regan wants his lick back. But anyways, he unalived their father just for the greed of the gold, and the greed itself transformed him into basically a monster, a dragon. And that was just a warning, basically, because they could have done worse. You feel me? So, now, what's his name? Regin is raising Siegfried to unalive his own brother, gang. Yeah, this story is so crazy, and I'm like, this is where stabbing people to back. This is probably where it ultimately started in life. So he just basically wanted that treasure, but the problem was the treasure was cursed, guys. Literally, the treasure was cursed. So I don't know. What's up? What's up? How y'all doing? Thank you. Thank you. I don't know why anybody wanted this treasure, because the whole thing was cursed and they kind of knew it, but I don't know if they believed it. I just think they seen gold and they was like, yeah. We heard it was, but it's not true. But it was definitely true, and I'll tell you why it was true. So this whole thing was a setup, and it was basically manipulation caused by, the stepfather, which is Regin, which is the dwarf, Siegfried's stepfather. Siegfried, you gotta remember, he's still young, he's fearless, he just wants the glory, he just wants the greatness. So he stupidly agrees to go out there and slay this quote unquote dragon, not really knowing too much information about the dragon, He goes out alone, he finds the dragon, and he realizes real quick, gang, this is not about to be a normal fight. He's fighting a dragon. Like what do you mean? How do y'all fight a dragon? This is not about to be a normal thing. So instead of just, rushing in and just, getting unalive or getting eaten, he does something smart. He digs like a pit, like a hole in a pit. Y'all know what a pit is. So he digs a hole, and he hides underneath like the path where the dragon crawls and lays. He hid. He waited, silent, still, him and his sword. Thank you, Raven. Appreciate you. Shout out to Raven for the rose. Appreciate you. Thank you, love. Thank you, Raven, for the heart me. Thank you. Appreciate y'all. So boom. So he's hiding, right? The dragon comes back. Fafnir comes back from whatever he was doing. I don't know where he was out flying, eating people. Who knows what he was doing. So Fafnir, slithers over him, crawling, slithers over to his comfortable, little spot in his cave. Siegfried literally comes out of nowhere and strikes upward. I have to watch my wording because, TikTok will get me. But Siegfried literally attacks him from underneath. And if y'all know anything about dragons, I know, but they didn't say this in the story. The softest part, most vulnerable part is their stomach. It's very soft. So I don't know how Siegfried knew that, but that's what he did. And, and then he kind of drove it up too, which was kind of crazy. So Siegfried, Fafnir, immediate collapse. Immediate collapse starts, red paint starts coming out of Fafnir. Left and right. It's basically over. It was basically an easy fight. He didn't really have to do much. But before he takes his last breath, Fafnir says to Siegfried, you just stepped into something you don't understand. Of course, they said it in his language, but crazy, right? So that should have been Siegfried's warning, gang. That should have been his warning to get out. Don't play with these people. Don't play with these entities. Don't do none of this. But again, he wanted this glory. He wanted to be basically Superman, but before Superman came out. Indeed, he stays. Regan tells him to cut out the dragon's heart and cook it. So he starts cooking. He touches it. He bathes in the red paint from the dragon. He even drinks it. He puts his finger in it and puts it in his mouth. Well, he puts his finger in it and puts it in his mouth. And suddenly he can hear birds, y'all. Birds. Siegfried can hear birds. What story is this just got here? It is a story of Siegfried. Yes. So now he can hear birds. And guess what, y'all? The birds is not singing. They're not singing at all. They're warning him. They said, hey, Regan's about to unalive you. The second you hand over that treasure, gang, it's over for you. The birds is telling him all this tea, and he's over here like, what? Really? Because Siegfried is literally like blonde. Like, I think I know he comes from German and Nordic, history, but he's basically act like he's blonde. Like, he gotta be blonde in real life, because he's like, really? So everything clicks. The lies, the setup, the manipulation. He realized he just got, finessed by a dwarf that basically doesn't even have any powers, so Siegfried, of course, I told you guys he has abilities and powers. On top of this, now he can hear birds. He's invincible besides only one spot on his back, because he couldn't reach there when he was bathing in the red paint from the dragon. He couldn't reach his back, while washing, while getting, all the paint over him. So that was his one vulnerable spot, was in his back. So Siegfried, makes a choice. He unalives Regan, because what is he supposed to do? This man been setting him up the whole time when he was playing father figure, Still crazy. They're moving crazy, but I guess. He takes the treasure, including the super powered ring. He has a sword, and I believe it's like a dragon like killing sword. Believe the sword had abilities too. Like, the sword and the ring passed on even after Siegfried wasn't around, and they still cause issues in other people's lives, but we'll get there towards the end. So, and basically, this is where really Siegfried's story really begins, and it has a whole bunch of adventures and stories that starts really now, So let me just give y'all a little bit of it, because basically now Siegfried's untouchable. He thinks he's powerful. He done unalive a dragon. On top of it, he has new abilities. So he starts out on this journey, and he finds out some things are more dangerous than actual dragons. So Siegfried finds a woman that he heard about, surrounded by fire, sleeping, untouched by time. Think Sleeping Beauty, right? And Odin had put a spell on her that, with a real warrior come through, then he'll be able to save her and wake her up. So her name was Brunhilde. Y'all heard of Brunhilde? Brunhilde is a name that y'all should know throughout history. She is a Valkyrie, which we'll get there. So she's not human at all. She was never born here. A lot of people think like Valkyries were born here. They're not. They're basically like demigods, like female warrior demigods that don't really play. And she's one of the most strongest and most powerful of them all. So yes, so she's a Valkyrie, a warrior chosen by the I hate saying gods themselves, but that's what they basically pretended they was. There's only one big OG, one original god. So I want to say they were just like, deities or, but they weren't like, gods exactly. So Valkyries were chosen by, Odin and the rest of them, and Odin and them are not gods, but we can move on. Where am I at? So basically, Valkyries, decide who live and who, passes or gets unalive during battle. And they really collect spirits of warriors for some great battle one day we're supposed to have, some great Ragnarok. I don't know when or where that's supposed to happen, but that's basically their goal. So basically, what's her name? Brunhilde. Forgot. I'm reading your comments, but I forgot her name at the same time too. So Brunhilde basically disobeyed Odin. And what I heard there's many different stories about she disobeyed Odin, but basically a battle was going a certain way, right? And she saved a warrior that Odin didn't feel like was just, that didn't need saving. So he punished her. Mind you, Brunhilde is one of the strongest, most powerful Valkyries. She's like the leader of all the Valkyries, you know. So there's other, you know, Valkyries, but they're all under her. So she was punished for sleep. I'm not sure how long he expected her to sleep, for a century or, you know, for a lifetime. I don't know how long, but Siegfried, you know, put a stop to that. So using his ring and his sword and his powers, he was able to, you know, jump through that fire easily. And they needed someone fearless of heart to even go there at all. So it just worked out for both of them. So, you know, Siegfried walks through the flames, wakes her up, and guess what? The moment they see each other, gang, the moment they see each other, they fall in love out of nowhere. I don't know what kind of witchcraft magic is this. Like, what in the Sleeping Beauty is going on? Instantly, they're now obsessed and in love with each other. But it just becomes more tragic to me as the story goes on, because, like, they don't even end up being together. So what was the point of them? Like, I don't know if, like, they were still being punished, because this is, like, crazy. But hey, so they fall in love deep, immediate, unstable, unbreakable type of love. I'm saying toxic love. That's what I'm going with. That's not what's in the stories, in the readings, but that's how I feel, you know, in my notes. But don't forget, y'all, Siegfried still carries a curse. Yeah, gang. He is still a cursed warrior, still walking around like he's, you know, like Goku from, like, Dragon Ball Z. No, sir, you are not. No, this is not gonna be your story. So here fate starts stepping in, and everything starts to shift again, gang. So Siegfried eventually ends up in a different kingdom, and he meets a king named Gunther. So Gunther is a real king, and like I told you guys, Siegfried is a prince, but he's not a real prince, because he doesn't reign no land. You know, his father didn't leave nothing behind for him, you know, X, Y, and Z. So he does have the prince title, but he's not a real royal. Like, Gunther is sitting in the kingdom, you know, sitting up, you know, chilling, you know, sitting pretty type vibes, you know. And he's not a warrior. He's not good looking. He's not you know, he's just not who you would want, I guess, as a woman. So Gunther hears how Brunhilde is a baddie, and he's like, I want part to that. Brunhilde is the strongest of the Valkyries. She's the most beautiful. She's bad. She don't play no games. She stand on business. Her program is strict over there. You understand? He wants her. He needs her. And that's how most men of power move. Like, they move like they need. If they see something they can't have, they need to have it. You understand? Which is a problem they have in life right now. But hey, that's their problem right now, not mine. So he wanted to marry Brunhilde, y'all. Yeah, bro never met her. He just heard about her from the grapevine. He wanted to marry her, like, and he thought that would make him more powerful to marry a Valkyrie. Nobody would, you know, try him. He would, you know, his kingship would be kingship, you know. But here's the problem, y'all. Brunhilde and Valkyries don't marry just anybody. They don't even marry. So she thought it was crazy. Thank you, Raven. Thank you. Appreciate you for the rose. Thank you. Brunhilde thought it was very strange. So Brunhilde said if she was to be with a man or to marry him, he has to best her in battle. So Brunhilde said, let's fight. Let's run a fade, you know? Let's fight. What you on? You know? You want to be my husband? You can't even beat me in a battle. You're weak. You know, you're not shaped nicely. You're not athletic. You're not, you know, Gunther sounds just like his name, Gunther. You understand? So Gunther basically agrees, y'all, to fight her, right? But he gives Siegfried, him and Siegfried come because now they're friends and they're cool, and now you gotta obey your king type of vibe, you know. So Siegfried ends up, you know, taking a potion, a magic potion, and helping the king and turning himself into Gunther, right? So he drinks the potion, he turns into Gunther, he goes to go fight Brunhilde, right? So they're fighting, they're running the fade, left and right, they're doing their big one. Siegfried wins the fight. He actually wins, beats a Valkyrie, which is, you know, not very, you know, not very normal around here, you know. So Brunhilde fell for it at first. She didn't know at first, you know, because it obviously is a potion to disguise. It's magic. Who knows? Magic, science. I don't know, you know, whatever you guys want to call it right now. So now, he basically helps Gunther win Brunhilde's hand in marriage. So I'm confused of why he did it if he fell in love with her first. But, you know, the king say he must have what he have, and you're not a king, so you gotta fall back. And Odin allegedly didn't want Brunhilde to be with anybody. Like, she wasn't allowed to be with anybody. So I don't know what she had going on. So Brunhilde, you know, felt like, you know, Gunther earned her, you know, Gunther deserves her. He defeated her. He bested her. But in reality, it was Siegfried the whole time. So when she finds out though, y'all, everything goes left when Brunhilde finds out. Brunhilde's a very vengeful Valkyrie. Like she don't play that. Hold on, y'all. Sorry. I'm going off topic. So yeah. Anyway, so Brunhilde, I was over here reading these text messages pop up, but yeah, so Brunhilde found out and she kind of, you know, got mad and flipped out, and it kind of ended in, you know, Siegfried's downfall because she found out, and basically how she found out. Basically, she had someone else set him up, manipulation again and setups again. They was doing a lot of this plotting, plotting to get both of them, Gunther and Siegfried. And Siegfried actually got unalive. What story is this and where are they from? This is the story of Siegfried. Yeah, this is Siegfried, Brunhilde, and Fafnir. And Siegfried ended up marrying another woman to Krumhilde. All of their names was Brunhilde, some Hilda. I think it's Krumhilde, but it's been a while. What's up? What's up? What's up? Who's uncle? You older than me, Joshua. Don't take your eyes and pass me. So where I left off. So now you got a woman who, you know, loves Siegfried, married to another man, and Siegfried loving her, but married to another woman. They just all be just lying and doing weird stuff, you know. But yeah, Brunhilde found out, and they had to deal with that, you know. They definitely had to deal with that. Oh yeah, another man named Hagen entered the chat. I forgot to tell you that. Because this is like right after her love turns into rage. Don't take your eye past me. So Hagen, right? He's cold, loyal, and dangerous. He sees Siegfried as a threat to the kingdom, the truth, everything. So he decides Siegfried has to go straight up. And they said low key that Brunhilde set this up, but I'm not sure. I'm just a storyteller. But there's a problem. Siegfried is basically invincible, gang. I'm 19, you 40. You're crazy. You're crazy. Farted? You have child. You's a big man with child. Please. Please. Oh, yeah. So y'all, for this the one spot that's in his back was the only weak spot. So Hagen figured that out where it was, because he everybody knew, I guess, word in the street, he had one spot that was open, and Hagen figured out. So one day, Siegfried kneels down to drink some water, completely vulnerable. Everything, he wasn't worried about nobody. I mean, of course, you're not going to think nobody's going to attack you, you around your people. So Hagen had a spear. Why he throw that bit? Through the spear, y'all. Oh my God. And it's straight through that weak spot, just like that. The Dragon Slayer was out of here. Out of here. That's the craziest part about all of this anyways, because he's still passed, he was still out of here. It wasn't a dragon down the line, it wasn't a battle, it wasn't the gods, it was betrayal, lies, greeds, and a curse. And that's why y'all shouldn't be greedy, you shouldn't be lying, and you shouldn't be betraying people. You need to be loyal. Some of y'all don't understand. I'm 19 with a child. I'm not old enough to be an uncle. What? But you old enough to be a father, but you're not old enough to be uncle? What kind of stupidness? And a 19, what? I've been an uncle since I was a teenager. My nephew is 18 next month. 18. You funny. Hello, uncle. Don't talk up because I will come and find you. I'm not your uncle, boy, and you gotta forget green card to find me. What else? Where did I leave off of? Yeah. So just remember everything. This whole story, started off with the dragon, garden, goal. Everything with problems lead with start and end with goal. Goal or in greed. So yeah, so I don't know if y'all ever in situations like that in life, man. Just don't do it. Don't do it. If somebody trying to give you an easy way out in life, and you think they trying to help you, ain't no easy way in life. Do the hard work. Go put the hard work in, because people like to cut corners a lot, and you'll end up in jail. You'll end up unalive. You'll end up in weird situations. Look, everybody in this story, some bad happened to them. Everybody from Siegfried, the main character, his stepfather's brother that actually turned into a dragon, Brunhilde. Hagen's the only one that ended on top, and I know if I go keep reading, Hagen's story didn't end good too. So yeah, y'all keep y'all head on a swivel, be kind people, and just do better. Do better than, the Nordic and Germans of the past.